like the music, the starting intro. That's the all-time real classic African music. Angelique Kudjo, you can never beat it. Music that are meant to last forever. Right? It's been a minute. How's everybody been doing? I'm feeling good in my, how you all doing? Ghana Goddess Artwear / Oracle is here. Right? It's been a minute, guys. It's been a minute. I just want to say I miss you guys, but I don't miss you like that. Because when I'm not here, when I'm not showing up, there's obviously some other stuff, right? Family matters that are, taking up space. But today, I just want to say happy birthday to all my Libras. I'm a Libra moon, so it's a sort of a birthday for me too. It's my season too, right? That's the Empress and the Tarot. The divine feminine energy, Libra and Taurus. Beautiful, gorgeous, divine feminine energy comes through that sign. Beautiful, talented musicians, artistic, balanced people who believe in arts, and this is a beautiful, beautiful season. Libras are very, very relationship oriented, artistic, divine beings. I love the season, and yeah, it is what it is. So today, Ghana Goddess Oracle obviously showed off my Virgo outfit because I didn't come for Virgo in the Libra season. Yeah, but it still works. It is what it is, okay? I do what I want to do. Whenever I'm ready, when the time is right, the energy is right, everything is in alignment, I show up and I do what I got to do. The bottom line is to continue the purpose, why I'm doing it. Always feeling that fire and doing it from the heart, and that's what matters. It's not about all of the other stuff. This is not a competition. This is serious business that we come here to do. So what am I telling you today? Ghana Goddess Oracle is going to be showing you and talking to you like a part 2 of the divine spiritual awakening that I talked about the last season that I was here. I talked to you guys. I initiated a lot of you into spiritual awakening. Now, I knew that I missed a couple of important points when I did that, and I promised that I'll come with a part 2. So today, I would give more details to the spiritual awakening path. And on top of that, I'm also going to show you what it means when a spiritual person says that they are healing spiritually. I'll show you. I'll talk to you about it. You have to understand one thing. The spiritual awakening process in itself, it's a healing journey. It's one of the biggest things that it's doing. Not only is it setting you on the path of your true self to know who you are on all levels of your being, it is also opening up knowledge that is going to open you up to healing certain aspects of you, not just you and your bloodline, even past bloodlines into the future also. By you fixing this DNA, this, curses and all these, repeated patterns in your bloodline, you are changing the future of your children. So spiritual awakening, people think it's just about, all the spooky stuff and you getting spiritual gifts, but it's truly a healing journey. A healing journey to self-discovery. All right, and it can be a painful process for you, or it can be a very exhilarating experience and an enlightening experience for you. So I will be showing you how we heal as spiritual people. A lot of spiritual people will say, but I healed. I tell some people that I'm close to, I already healed that trauma. I already healed that childhood thing. I already healed this broken heart. And I have been, everything I've been talking about spirituality is all part of the healing process. But I'm going to show you exactly when we want to directly focus on, okay, I'm healing this heartbreak. How am I going to do it? I'm going to talk about that today. So it'll be 2 videos. I'll do part 2 of giving you some more information on the spiritual awakening process, and then I'll do a video on the healing process and showing you what we actually do, what I did, all right, what I did to heal myself, okay? So I love you all, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I try to make it fun, interesting, and I bring in my real life experience because I can't talk to you about what I don't know. I always tell you that I am a true, authentic being. I'm not here to gain likes and people, everybody in my favor and followers. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to teach and express my experience so that people who desire to be on that path can use it. Okay, because one thing that a lot, we didn't grow up with is a lot of detailed direction on real life experience that we need to solve as human beings. When it comes to spirituality slash religion, it's always looking up to something else. This is a path that allows you to stand in your power to look into you and what you can do for you. Because when I was in trouble, Jesus didn't come. That's all I want to tell you. When I was in trouble, nobody came. I had to do something for them to finally meet me when I was in the right place at the right vibration. So you need some work to be done if you really want to deal with spiritual beings. All right, and this is the process. So let's enjoy it. Let's talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. Be free to, leave me comments if you want. All right. Love you all. Talk to you later. See you in the video. Bye. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. I hope you listened to the introduction. Let's quickly jump into it. All right. I hope you've been doing good. All right. Go ahead and get your popcorn and your little wine, a little juice, whatever you drink, soda, whatever, water. And let's get this information in. All right. I hope you guys been doing good. I've been doing life. Life has been doing me. I'm always a mama first. I tell you that right now. I'm a typical homebody mommy, taking care of family first. Then I can worry about everybody else. Alright, so like I said already in the introduction, I'm gonna be discussing the part 2 of certain important details that I missed out in the first video on how to go through the spiritual ascension process and what to expect and what you're gonna go through. So I'm just gonna do that first, and then my next video will be the healing. All right, so let's get it, guys. This is definitely a recap, okay, of the last talk. And basically I just will be breaking down and filling in the information I missed, okay, like I've already said. Obviously, to remind those of you who didn't watch the video, meditation is the main key. That's what I really tried to drive home the last time. What I drove home the last time for you was that all the other stuff, all the other methods that you could use are all effective, but not as truly faster, quicker, and deeper, and more like effective than when you meditate. If you really want to experience something, meditate. Okay, so with that being said, there's no way around that. If you really looking serious business, you really want to go through this process, start meditating. And I did demonstrations on that. So hope you remember that. Now I'm going to give you all these other aspects that come with it. All right. There was an important point that I missed. Couple of points. So let's get to it. The first point that I want to drive home is how long the process actually takes. And I'm going to be using my experience because that's what I know. That's what's real to me. In my experience, it took me like a whole year before I started to, get back to a little bit of normalcy in my life. All right. It took me a whole year. Basically, it took me through the whole astrological cycle. I started meditating around October, right? Ending of October, November, December of 2010, all right? And I started dreaming immediately within a week or so. But then, which is an initiation, all right? The dreaming was telling me that I was doing something different to myself. So I started dreaming immediately, and I'm talking about more than 3-4 dreams a night, all right? But for me to really realize that I've actually risen the Kundalini energy, which is the divine goddess power within me, which is the spiritual essence within me. When I realized that it was happening, it was like 3 months in. Yeah. something around January, February. I remember February 14th was very significant. Okay, so it took me within 3 to 4 months for me to actually experience something magical happening when I'm sitting down meditating, which is I was started to see the images, the colors in my eyes when I closed them. They were swollen and going in and out, like all the rainbow colors were moving in circle, and then they started to go in the, like the infinity sign. When I close my eyes, that's what I see. I see red, yellow, orange, green, blue, and then hot pink. All right, it will swell, it will go in my third eye when I'm focusing there, and then it will splash, it will go black, and then it will come in. Sometimes I'll see little dots, all right, little sparkly dots, all right, like white little dots when I close my eyes. That would also happen. But the day that I knew that I'd opened my third eye, when that happened, after the colors happened, okay, and I don't know why I'm describing this, I'm not even looking at my notes. When that colors, happened, then it went dark, and then I started to see sparkly stars, like dots, a whole lot. You know how when you're stargazing and you're looking into the night and you see a million stars? That's what I saw in my eyes. And so when I closed my eyes and I saw that like a million, I was looking in the galaxy. It was like I was looking in the stars at night. It was dark with all the sparkly colors of different stars, tiny stars. And then what they did was they started to join into circle. They started to join like this and started moving like this, okay? And I started crying. I was so blissed out. I can't describe how I was feeling. It was euphoric, it was enlightening, and then they started to move and they started to swell. The sparkle started to swell, and then it became like zzz, like this. Like then my body started shaking, like I started feeling tinglings, which I do feel tinglings, but this time it was more intense. My body was hot. I could feel heat coming through my whole, like from the bottom of my tailbone all the way through my head, and then a sudden chill. I can't describe it. All I know is I started to see the things turning, and then it started to turn into stars, like, having like multi line stars splashing, doing this, like this in, like, the lines turned into stars and they were splashing, going in, swirling in and out. But oh my god, I will never forget that. When I saw that, it was like I was looking into the universe, looking into the stars, and the stars started to move and they started to like sparkle in my eyes with my eyes closed. So now what I was like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. So what I did was I kind of opened my eyes a little bit. I was like, the tears was rolling down. I was like, what's going on? Closed my eyes, the thing came back again. I was like, I couldn't believe, I thought I was dreaming. I thought something was wrong. So I opened my eyes and I was in my room where I was sitting meditating and everything was normal. I closed my eyes again and then it continued. It went on for a while, and that feeling will never leave me. Never leave me. That's when I knew that my third eye was open. Because after that, then I started to see little splashes of images when I sit down. Like, a face will show up, like an eye will show up, stuff like that, like writing, I'll see it, like a number will show up, those type of stuff when I sit down to meditate. That's how it started. That's how I knew that I was, like, my third eye was open. All right. It was an experience that I'll never forget. As I go through all this, I'm going to show you other experiences that I had to prove. Okay, and I want you to have that proof that nobody can take away from you. You're not imagining things. You actually saw it happen to you, right? Then you can say, okay, I am spiritually open. I've done something. I've altered my state of being. I've altered my mind. So that's a nice entry for you guys. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever described this before, but today, somehow I'm going with the flow. But anyway, so the first point was, what I realized was that I was learning astrology. Astrology has 12 houses from Aries to Pisces. Aries, Taurus, those of you who don't know, let me just say it quickly. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Aries in the first house, Taurus in the second house, Gemini third house, Cancer fourth house, Leo fifth house, Virgo sixth house, Libra 7th house, Scorpio 8th house, Sagittarius 9th house, Capricorn 10th house, Aquarius 11th house, Pisces 12th house. So this is like this. Basically, it's the different positions and the, like it's like a pie chart of the sun. That's what you're studying, the sun position in everybody, like in all the sign. When you're studying astrology, you're studying about the sun. Okay, the division of the sun and how the sun life expresses itself through you based on that portion of the sun that you came through at the time of your birth. All right, that's what it is. So it's not a coincidence that when I started to go through the spiritual awakening, I was pretty much learning in my dream state. This is how I knew I was learning astrology plus my birth chart all combined during the awakening period. You are learning, you pick up information during every season, especially starts with the new moon and then it continues with the different changes and the feelings, especially if you have placements in that house. You will feel more, you know more, you learn more, which is just ideas coming into your head, you hearing things, okay, but dreaming about what that placement means in your life. You will dream it. So me in particular, I never went to an astrologer to get my birth chart read because my spiritual awakening did all that for me. My spiritual awakening did all that for me. Okay. What it did was every season, so let's say as I started in October, I would say that didn't really start. I didn't start realizing that it was actually going through the astrological chart until maybe the beginning of the following year, which was 2011, maybe January, February, that area. That's when I really started realizing that all that I had been dreaming was explaining my birth chart and explaining the sign and the season. So what I started to realize was that if this was Libra season, I was behaving and feeling things like a Libra. So things that have to do with relationships was what was on my mind. I was dreaming about my partnerships, people that I've married, people that I'm in connections with, people that I'm meant to meet. And then I was also getting directions, okay, of certain letters, which is giving you clues to the your soul is a powerful thing. Let me tell you something. My soul gave me the letters of the beginning names of people that are meant to be in my life. So I have 3 particular letters and I also translate it to numbers and all that. It's like when somebody comes into my life and they tell me, for instance, they are called Janet, I know what Janet is coming to do in my life. If Janet falls under my letter, I can't obviously tell all of you, but I noticed that people that were coming into my life had one of those letters at the beginning. So if my letter was a J, I started meeting a lot of Janets. And Janets were doing specific things, repeated, you could tell. I could immediately tell what Janet was doing. Janet was there to be my partner. Janet was there to be my business partner. Janet was there to teach me. Janet was there to just allow me to see something. Stuff like that. That's what I started to learn. So let's say the Libra time, I was getting exposed to that. Sometimes I would dream about past life partnerships around that topic and around that season. And if I had issues, it would expose it, going all the way to my bloodline in my dream state and sudden realizations. Because this is going to bring me to my next point quickly. But I'll say and go back to my point. My next point that I was going to say is the role of the spirit guides coming into your life, which happened immediately for me. When your spirit guide come into your life, your dreams messages you meet with them in the dream state. That's what happened to me. I met with my spirit guide in my dream state in my childhood house, and I'll describe him and then I'll go back and I'll talk about him later. He had a head. His head, the skin of his head was as that long. It was like a cone. He was black, he was gray hair, he had human features, but then he was wearing all black robe, but then his feet was a bird feet. His feet that was on the floor was a bird feet. That is some serious hybrid business. And this spirit guide met me at my childhood, the house that I was actually born into. And he was sitting there, and that's how he introduced himself to me. I didn't call my spirit guide. My spirit guide came to me. And I kept on meditating. A few weeks into it, into maybe a month or so, I don't remember exactly, but it happened within 3 months. So this spirit guy showed up and he talked to me, and he said that he was the spirit guide to my grandparents who raised me as their last child. And that's detailed personal information I just put out there. But yes, that's what he said. He said he was the one, he had been the spirit guide for the family. He's in the bloodline. So I'm telling you this to tell you stuff that you would know. All right. A lot of spirit guides have been in your bloodline forever. They've been with you forever. Not all your spirit guides are your ancestors, because your ancestors also, like your grandparents and your mothers and stuff that die, sisters, and they all become spirit guides depending on the level of their spiritual upgrades and knowledge before they left. Okay, and I don't know too much about that, but some of them become your guides. Not all your family members become your guides. Some of them you never see them again, because I feel like if they are not spiritually inclined and they leave, they just stay dormant. They cannot do anything for you. And if you are not spiritually inclined, you can never see them and they can never help you, right? So that's a whole different thing. But I'm saying the spirit guide is the next point that I'm going to get to, that comes into your life because you need spiritual team when you go to the spiritual doors. But anyway, my first point is it started to teach me. So every season I was going through a lot of torture, a lot of emotional ups and downs, mood swings. Besides the headaches and the drought, sleepiness and insomnia and me waking up, I've been waking up between 2 to 5 since 2010, every day of my life. My eyes opens within any of that time. And then when I meditate and I go to sleep, that's when I get revelations. It's a very powerful, they call it witching time. And yeah, that's why you need to get the idea of witch being a negative thing. There are bad witches and there are good witches, but the word witch is not a negative thing per se. It's just someone who, or a wizard is just someone who is inclined spiritually. All right, and then some who choose it for evil, choose it for evil. Whatever it is, they call it witching time. I don't care why they call it witching time. All I'm telling you is that if you research it, they'll tell you that's what it is. It's called the witching time. But for me, I feel like that is when the veil is thin, where you can go into the astral world, into different dimensions when you go to sleep, because that's when a lot of potent things happen to me. Sometimes even when I go to sleep immediately, between the hours of the 7 o'clock that I went to sleep, I can have heavy dreams, heavy visitations of spirit coming in. I mean, my grandparents have visited me in my light afternoon sleep. It felt so real, like she was sitting, because she did actually come to visit me. Spirits can come and visit you, and as you evolve, you will see that there's different, types of spiritual experiences. There are visitations where they actually come to visit you, and then when you go astral travel to their world at different dimensions. All that is with experience, you figure it all out. But anyway, I have digressed so far and gone into different things, but I always say you need to hear what comes out. What comes out and what's coming out is the way it's supposed to happen. So I'm looking at my notes, but I'm also telling you a lot. So like I was saying to you already, what happened was, it gets intensified during the new moon and throughout to the full, especially the full moon. The full moon dream revelations was so intense. It taught me a lot about myself, my family, my past lives, what I'm supposed to do, all that stuff. And I felt everything of that season. So it's like, in a way, I know what it feels like to be a Libra. I know what it feels like to be every single sign, because I experienced it emotionally, psychologically, mentally, ideas that was coming. Let's say Libra season, I was going through my awakening. Libra season, I will suddenly get fashion design ideas, artistic ideas will come into my mind. All right. Like I said, each situation surrounding my relationships, I'll dream about my love life, people that are coming, people that are meant to be, people, problems will be solved for me by the full moon. So it was so intense for me. Every night I would have multiple dreams from the new moon all the way, and even after the full moon. After the full moon, when you're going to the waning moon, that's when you see the negative things that the season has. So in every sign, there's a good side and there's a bad side. Like I always tell you, there's always good and bad in every single thing. So what I noticed was, after the full moon, then I started to see the problems that that sign has, which is codependencies, being clingy, being overly focused on love and all that. Those things, if I had areas and problems in that, my dreams expose that, or suddenly I'll get that download, the ideas will come. That's what downloads are. When you sit there, sometimes you can request to download by asking questions and listening. But then you also get sudden realizations, information coming to you. That is the job of your soul, to give you things and tell you things out of nowhere that you weren't even thinking about. It just comes. A thought drops, and that thought is not always your thoughts, not always your soul's information. It is sometimes your angels, your spirit guides, your ancestors, divine. It could be any divine being talking to you, and you would know as you learn and develop your spiritual abilities. So it's like that. So I was going through that. So not only was I feeling everything for that season, for that sign, I was also getting a breakdown and revelations, understandings of my charts. Because if I had a planet in the seventh house, for instance, which is the Libra house, okay, whatever that was a placement was, I experienced everything that I was supposed to understand. So I went through a spiritual school of my birth chart and astrology all at once during my spiritual awakening. So not only was I learning about my birth chart and getting, understanding, okay, of my money life, my relationship life. So it's like I was getting, I was being taught everything about my birth chart, about my money, my children, myself, my talents, my spiritual gift, my past life experience, the way I behave, what takes me, what my passions are, what illnesses are. All that was happening as we get to that sign. Do you get me? I think I've explained it enough. So it took me a whole year for it to come to circle. Before I started to, and I still feel that, but not as much, because I've already gone through my initiation. So right now, as I sit here, every season, it's the same thing, but it's not as intense because I've solved a lot of the problems. So I feel things, and I come into realizations, and things happen around relationships about the Libra season. That's when in Libra season, but it's not as intense as the beginning. But if I'm gonna meet someone, it's likely for it to happen now. If there's gonna be a partnership, a marriage situation, it's gonna happen now. Things around relationships, love matters will be discussed. So as I was saying, like every season, I would be going through all that. Relationship situations will come out. You pick a movie and it's about a love relationship, and it could be a scene that is solving your problem, making you get an insight to why something didn't work out in your relationship. That's how you start to heal and start to solve your problems, because the universe will create coincidences and synchronicities that you naturally follow through, that will open up your mind and let you see what is going on within your own charts. So not only are you getting downloads, dreaming like how I was dreaming like 3, 4, 6 dreams. It got to a point I could control my dreams, where I can go back to continue the dream and just tell myself, what were you trying to tell me? And then I'll go back to the dream state, and then I'll continue the dream. I used to control my dream and ask myself questions before I go to sleep, and then dream about it. Alright, because my soul was awakened and was working with me. So whatever I request of my soul when I go to sleep, my soul answers me, and it still happens till today. But my dream world was ridiculous. I couldn't sleep very well at night. I dreamed so much. So during the day I was tired, sleepy, everything else. And I couldn't eat that much. Okay, so I'm gonna go into the certain information about that as well. The insomnia part and your sleeping patterns getting all knocked off, body pains, like I can say a lot of you needing to drink a lot of water, not wanting to go anywhere, because there's so much that you're breaking down, information that you're processing, mood swings. Sometimes you sit there and you start crying because you suddenly realize why something didn't happen for you 10 years ago. Because you're going through a spiritual awakening and you've opened doors. And in which every season it was like that. I'll be crying, I'll be blissful, I'll be happy, I will learn information. Like that. It was that roller coaster for a whole year. Because you're understanding yourself, your destiny is being revealed to you, you're being taught who you are all at once, and then you're learning about everything else, everybody. And then not only that, then the animals are also giving you signs, and you're starting to notice the birds behaving a certain way. When the weather is changing, you're feeling like the weather is about to change, something is different, something has switched. Okay, it suddenly starts to rain and you feel like there's a reason why it's raining. Like you connect with everything that is nature. All right, you sit there and you feel like you want to go sit outside and breathe. You want to put your foot on the ground, feel the soil. You feel like you need to hug the tree. Out of nowhere, you hug the tree. You suddenly start crying because you feel so much love from the universe. I mean, if the mood swings and intensity, okay, of spiritual awakening is going to change you forever. It will blow your mind. One of the things, that significant things that happened to me that I after today, I'm like, oh, during that time I felt like I couldn't wear anything this tight. My clothes were all loose. I was wearing big loose clothes because I wanted to feel free, and I started to feel shy when I was showing my butt, when I was showing any, like, have my titties showing. I started to feel all that, like, okay, I didn't want to show this. Something was different. Something was happening to me. Loose dress where you can't see any of my butt, you can't see my titty. I was starting feeling like covering my head half of the time, because when my head is open, I started to get all the tinglings, which is energy going through my skull. And then getting too many things, ideas, and downloads. So I will cover my head. So you see me looking like some old lady wearing these big old clothes, and my head covered. That I went through all that. Sometimes if I sleep all day. My kids thought I was depressed. My life was upside down. Obviously couldn't work. I couldn't have any job. Thank God I didn't have a job at that time, because I'll be crying, laughing, and writing down information. It was something. So I want you to understand what you're getting yourself into. While you're learning about who you are, you're getting directions and everything. All right. So my first point was all that, and you understanding the moon cycles and how it actually changes within your body. The moon cycles live within you when you open up and you start meditating. Every shift will happen. So during the new moon, you will start feeling happy, alive, wanting to take actions on things that pertains to that sign, like Libra season. You'll be wanting to go out so you can meet people, for instance, if that's what you want. Okay? Then throughout that new moon to the full moon, you'll be trying to manifest those things, and it will happen. If you're going to meet good people, it will happen within that time. After the full moon, you start to experience the other side to the person, if you met someone, so it's like you start to see the shifts, okay, of everything. But when the full moon comes, everything comes to head. Things get released to you. You start to get the epiphanies. You understand. Everything becomes clear. So whatever problem you needed to solve, it will start working its way throughout the whole moon seasons, and show you different sides of the story for the whole season. So the moon cycles, the astrological cycle, which is all about what? The sun and the moon. This is what the two biggest things that you see on earth, right? The sun and the moon. And what you're doing is you are connected to the sun and moon, and you will start to see how connected and how planetary you are. Because also astrology is about what? Studying of the planets in your chart. So how the planet is affecting you, how you're behaving, how you think based on the sign that is in, is all getting ignited, and you're starting to learn all that. So you are learning about the sun's effect, the moon cycles, the Jupiter cycles. Everything is happening throughout your whole spiritual awakening. I wanted to spend 10 minutes to break down that point, but it's gone beyond. So I'm going to wrap that up. And when you start to do it, you will start to experience that. At least that's what I went through. I don't know. Maybe yours will be different. If it's different, tell me. Let me know. Learn something else. All right? But I also forgot to break something down. I use the word energy a lot. I use the word vibration, frequency, and all that. The spiritual vibration, different vibration, all that, what you are awakening in you, according to the Eastern Indians and the Asians, they call it the Kundalini. It's also called the goddess energy. All right, the Kundalini energy, which is like a serpentine symbol, is what they use to describe it. A lot of times, the reason why the health emblem, or what is it called? I forgot. The logo for the health is like a stick with a snake going around it, right? That is also a symbol of how the Kundalini rises through your chakras and rises all the way and opens up here in the third eye chakra and the crown, so that you are open. So it is described as the feminine energy. It's the female goddess vibration. So let's say that the masculine energy is here, right, which is the logical mind. And I'm going to tie this to information that I gave you guys before. Remember how I was telling you that the divine feminine, or the right brain, is connected to the spiritual powers, the intuition and everything, and that's the part that they don't want you to tap in, and that's the part that awakens that psychic part of you. Yes, it makes sense. But it is before it arises and stand in power and work in connection with the divine masculine, which is the logical brain. It lays down there. So that vibration, that awakening that you're going through, is a form of Kundalini energy. When you are opening up the chakras, that's what is rising. Remember when I was demonstrating the meditation, I was talking about colors swirling and going up. In a way, I was trying to tell you, I wasn't trying, I was telling you that's the Kundalini energy, or the goddess vibration, which is the one that holds the spiritual essence, rising into awakening and wakening up the soul. That is why in most deep spirituality, they'll tell you that true God, if we're going to give gender to God, is the female. Because whatever the power of spirit lies, it lies in the feminine energy. It's the darker energy. When I started to see gods, it's only female gods that I saw. The only masculine deity that appeared to me was a voice. But every goddess, every divine being that I have seen with my physical eyes are female. And that's a fact. That's what I've experienced personally. The goddess that lives in the soil, I saw. The goddess Sekhmet. Any goddess that was connected to me, my bloodline, in my awakening, was a female goddess. So the rising of the energy of the Kundalini energy, or the spiritual power that rises all the way to the third eye and enlightens you and opens your soul up and wakens you up, is a feminine energy. Let's get that straight. So I wanted to kind of bring all the symbolism into that I've been talking about and make you get the whole picture here. Now I'm going to make another point. Since we're in the Libra season, I will extend even further to talk about. That is why some people, some people, spiritual awakening happens when they meet their twin flames or their soulmates. Because the process of the spiritual awakening in itself is female waking up to meet the male. So it's like in the spiritual community, in the tarot community, on YouTube specifically, what I started to notice is that all the readings was for the divine feminine. Because the divine feminine, the females, are likely to be spiritually awoken first before they awaken their masculine. Before the masculine meets them. The women are waking up first spiritually. And it's naturally faster for a female to reach spiritual growth and have spiritual gifts and deeper gifts than the masculine. And I'm speaking facts. Like I was saying, that's why, in the spiritual community, basically all the tarot readings is for the divine feminine. Why? Because she awakens first. And then she helps her masculine to awaken to meet her, or, to be there. Or, it's like the process is she awakens first, and then she has to wait on the masculine to meet her. But the definition of the spiritual awakening when it comes to the masculine and the feminine in that aspect is the divine feminine that is waking up. The spiritual essence lies in the feminine energy. Period. It lies in the feminine energy. It doesn't make the woman superior, but that's why people think that God is female first. Because to them, when the more spiritual they get, the more understanding they get, the more they see the essence, the more they realize that the female carries both genders inside, just like the male does. But like, there is something about the goddess energy, the vibration of spiritual power being feminine. And in my experience, that's who I see as goddesses, showing themselves to me. So I just wanted to touch a little bit of that. Basically, this is all about the sun and moon. The sun is here. When the sun goes off, what's going to happen? We can live without the moon. Can we live without the sun? That's also something to think about. But the sun and the moon are the same thing, though. You have to understand. The sun and moon are the same thing. It's different sides of the sun that becomes the moon. So the female and the masculine is all one thing. It's all embedded in there. It's just that one holds a certain power and the other one holds another power. So I just want to, level the field, because I don't like females who get too into their head and get all feminist and all get all power and power. I mean, but if, because I don't want to be like, oh, all our lives we've been taught that God is a man and I'm here to change it. God is a woman. That's not my job. I don't even care who is God. I'm God. You are God. We are gods. And what happened? Nothing happened. Just have to understand that it's all principles and gain that higher understanding, and you get out of that division and realize that it's all one thing. It's all one. It's just different sides of the same coin. Pretty much. That's all I'm trying to get at. Alright? So I wanted you to understand this, but I can't believe it's just one page all this time. Already in 30 minutes. But I've explained a lot of things into all of these points already. Alright? So the next important thing was I was telling you about your spirit guides coming into your life. You can ask for your spirit guides if you want. Astrologically, every sign has an angel assigned to them, but you also have spirit guides. Like I was telling you previously, my spirit guides have been in my family line, and your spirit guides change because I have a new spirit guide now. Alright, and I'll describe how my spirit guide came to me. My most recent spirit guide, I saw it's a man and he was wearing all white, like loose white with a belt in it, gold everywhere. He was black, and I saw him as a giant, and as he comes closer to me, he became like a normal height to me. And before he showed up in my dream, I was watching a tarot reader who came from Jamaica, okay, and she's from Kingston, and whatever she's talking about was so interesting or whatever. But it's like I'm driving home to something. Before your spirit guide shows up, they give you information. Alright, so something about that lady was connected to the name of my spirit guide. When he finally showed up in my dream state and exposed himself to me, then I noticed that he announced his arrival. Because when I listened to that lady's whatever she was saying, it was connected to my spirit guide coming and exposing himself to me. So your spirit guide will come to you. They will give you, indications. Maybe you start hearing a name over and over again for like a whole week or something like that. Or you start seeing a certain color. You start seeing things. They will give you like heads up before they show up. So when they actually show up in your dream, and for me, I dream because I'm clairvoyant. That's my strength. I'm a fire sign like Aries, Leo, Sag. That's our strength. I don't know how it happens for the other signs. It's not my business. I can only tell you my experience. Okay, so maybe for an earth sign, it might happen differently. For a different sign, it might happen. But for me, it's more clairvoyance. My thing is dreaming. I dream a million dreams a night. Stop trying to come into my dream, because I know the dreams that are fake. People using other people trying to get into my dream world to tell me how they feel instead of telling me in real life. Listen, it's okay. however you meet me, it's alright. I'm just saying, as you get more experience in your gift, you'll be able to decipher which dreams are, you know, what every dream means and how all that stuff, like the purpose of the dream, who's coming to you, and all this stuff. Anyway, I digress. My point is that the spirit guide will show up, and your ancestors. For me, my ancestors, like those of you who are Ghanaians, you know that I'm the great granddaughter of Nana Self-Reata the First, which was part of the Big Six, and JB Dankwa, who were cousins to, part of the Big Six of Ghana, right? They helped bring independence into Ghana, beside, work with Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. So my family bloodline is connected to bringing, Ghana to where it is, building schools and stuff like that. The Big Six created Ghana, built a lot of stuff, for Ghana, and brought Ghana to a certain level back then. I didn't meet my great grandfather because it's my grandfather's father. I did not meet him, but when I went through my spiritual awakening, he shows up in my dream to welcome me into my spiritual role and my destiny. And he shows up with a whole entourage in my dreams. And this was not me traveling there. They came into my room, opened my door, and came and sat by me on my bed. That is what I was telling you about, how some of the dreams are visitations and not you astral traveling. So they came to welcome me, and then when they came and sat on the bed and I knew immediately that it was him. I knew immediately that it was him because I had seen his picture before, and then he showed up in my dream state with an entourage because he's a king, and he came with different people, like, midgets, Amotia for, midgets, like, I don't know how to, I forgot the English name for them, but the best thing I can describe is midgets, and it's all connected to my family bloodline. So they showed up and they sat there, welcomed me, and then they held my hands, and I remember seeing all kinds of colors, black, red, all, like the rainbow colors, like it's almost like a tunnel, like moving into a different dimension. We're in a whole different place. It's like a whole freaking party on a different astral plane, where family members are all sitting down, there's music, there's food. I am telling you, life beyond physical. And that was the first time I've seen some crazy stuff like that. And I'm giving you my experience because it is actually how it went down. That's the truth. And this is happening in the night when I'm asleep. And I've left my body, astral travel. They took me to a different place, astral plane, and they had a party there. Then they started talking to me about what I was supposed to do. What are my plans? They asked me, what are your plans? And I said, I was saying everything. And they were telling me, well, if you did it this way and this and that, then this is what's going to happen. Some of them were shaking their head like they were in agreements. The ancestors that I don't know, some of them I know, some of them I don't know. But they were there to meet me, and they were my spirit guides. So when you go to spiritual awakening, your ancestors are the ones, the first that you are supposed to be working with, and your spirit guides. They will come into your dream state. They will show themselves to you. And all that I'm saying, telling you, this is the truth. And these are the reasons why you would know that you have opened a dimension in you. You've awoken as a soul. And me, I've seen my soul. It was black and white hair, swollen, then it had my face, and I hugged it in a dream state because I asked to see my soul.